How do you go from being on top of the football world to ending up in prison? The story of Dani Alves is one of riding high and falling low, especially when you think he could be facing a maximum sentence of 12 years behind bars. When rape allegations came up, everyone abandoned Dani as he was no longer anyone's friend. Everyone but two people, Messi and Neymar. Hello football fans and welcome to Top Corner TV. Today's story is about a $1 million bail, loyalty, potential legal injustice, and hitting rock bottom after dominating Europe's football scene for years. We are a new channel with a goal of bringing you only the best football content, so before we begin, hit that subscribe button and help us become better with every new video. As you probably know, Dani Alves was accused of raping a 23-year-old woman in a nightclub back in 2022, and his life has been nothing but living hell since. According to medical reports, Dani has been severely depressed due to everything that has been going on around him, and at one point, the internet blew up with news of his suicide. Fortunately, it would be confirmed later on that the news was fake and posted by some untrustworthy Mexican reporter who just wanted to attract clicks and views. However, it's understandable why Dani would be in such a place mentally. Regardless of the legal outcomes of this whole mess, his reputation is tarnished forever. Many have fled his side and completely cut ties with him since day one of him being accused. Despite the presumption of innocence, we're still living in a world where sexual charges can destroy a man's life even before the trial begins. Even if he didn't do it, there will always be many people who won't believe him. But here's what makes these types of situations really twisted. If you take a look at today's sports and entertainment scene, you'll see how easy it is to point fingers and cancel certain individuals overnight. Many actors and athletes have suffered that fate, and there wouldn't be a problem if they were convicted on strong and direct evidence, but most often, the public turns against them just because of the words of the alleged victims. Don't get us wrong, we're not saying Dani is innocent or guilty, we're advocating that the court process should be respected until the end, and that the only way a man should be convicted is if there is strong evidence to support such a decision. Do you recognize this man? If you think of Johnny Depp's case, you probably remember how everyone turned their back on him when his wife accused him of domestic abuse and violence, when it was the exact opposite. Although Johnny did struggle with drug and alcohol use, not once did he lay a finger on his wife, and there were recordings of him going through severe physical torture and maltreatment without retaliating or pushing back. And do you remember the public narrative before the court case? Johnny was the villain, losing the role in one of the most successful movie franchises ever, the Pirates of the Caribbean, and almost all of his brand deals and endorsements. After the trial had ended, Johnny promised a lifelong partnership with those brands who stuck with him through tough times, which tells you enough about the man's character. The point is, no one should get stones thrown at them just because someone accused them of something that could easily be untrue. Lying is easy and costs nothing, while the consequences of it may cost a man his life. So, is Dani Alves' fate already sealed? Fortunately for him, not everyone did leave his boat after the accusations emerged. Messi stayed true to their friendship from Barcelona days and was one of those who supported him through the darkest period of his life. As soon as the mess started, Messi helped Dani by connecting him to his lawyers. The legal team, led by Cristobal Martel, has previously aided Messi in his tax evasion case and is specialized in criminal law defense. This may not seem like too big of a deal to an average person, but from a practical point of view, this was a major move by Messi, and here's why. Imagine being in a situation where you're locked up for trial, your family and friends are leaving your side, your bank accounts are frozen due to the investigation, and no one can look you in the eye without instantly expressing they find you guilty. In those moments, having anyone believe in you could be life-saving, and that's what Dani Alves had in Messi. It wasn't just that he introduced him to his lawyers, it was about telling the world, I believe that my friend is innocent. Knowing Dani has been on suicide prevention and mental health program while in prison, it's more than obvious that type of support from Messi was worth than any money at that moment. Even at the initial stages of the process, Messi remained in contact with his former teammate and expressed care for everything related to the case. He'd regularly check up on him, asking about his health and living conditions, offering to donate anything that could help improve the environment Dani was in. Messi's emotional side probably got to him, so he even sent Dani their picture together from the most glorious days in Barcelona as a reminder to stay strong and reflect back on those moments every time he needs motivation to keep going. It's easy to assume athletes go through these situations differently than normal people, but everyone feels fear despite how much money they have in the bank. And as you can see, even when you're as rich as Alves, you can find yourself stuck and without access to your money, so having loyal friends around you proves to be the ultimate form of wealth. That's why when things went south, Messi wasn't the only friend remaining on Dani's side. Neymar was also the one to support him by paying a $1 million bail while the appealing process is ongoing. The father of the Brazilian star has expressed his concerns about the potential damage of public image regarding his son, but Neymar was persistent in his intention to help his friend from Barcelona. His father has also said that if Dani was found guilty, they'd stop giving him financial aid, which is understandable. If Dani was actually guilty of this crime, he deserves to be punished accordingly. The biggest issue is that in the modern era, nobody even bothers to question these types of allegations, which is why some players have had so many problems in the past, Neymar included. Back in 2019, a woman accused Neymar of rape and demanded millions of dollars in damages, but one small detail saved him. Thankfully, the recordings from a security camera showed the woman made advances on Neymar, which was exactly the opposite of what she said in a statement to the authorities. Knowing how valuable Neymar's brand is on a global level, just imagine what kind of damage would have been done to him if it wasn't for the lucky circumstances. He even went on to sue the woman for false accusations, wanting to completely defend his honor and name. If anyone understands the position Dani Alves is in, then it's definitely Neymar, and it's not like his case was an isolated one. Even Cristiano Ronaldo faces similar charges just a year ago in 2023. The case was dismissed, but there's always a stain that remains next to these players' names, making you wonder how many of them go through unfair rape allegations just because they're seen as targets for money extortion. And lastly, the most important question surrounding these types of cases revolves around the motive for such an act. It's no secret football players and other athletes are chased by some of the most beautiful women on the planet daily, so why do such a thing in the first place? Of course, it doesn't mean just because someone is a pro athlete they're also a good person, but from a practical point of view, they have options, and not just options, but an abundance of women, cars, mansions, and exotic destinations. They'd have to be massively stupid to risk it all just for a temporary fling they could get somewhere else only if they asked. If we're being real, all they have to do is slide into someone's DMs and they could be on their way to her place in less than 15 minutes. Unfortunately, the truth is hard to find sometimes, so we'll have to wait and see how this whole situation around Dani Alves plays out and whether he'll come out guilty in the eyes of the court. In the meantime, the presumption of innocence should remain active, and we should all follow the example of Messi and Neymar on how to conduct yourself with class when your friends are going through the darkest moments of their life. That's it for today, dear friends. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments below what do you think of Dani's case and whether you think he's guilty or not. Thank you for watching and sticking out with us until the end. Make sure you don't miss out on more football stories by hitting that subscribe button. See you in the next one.